The framework for a startup are the elements that are crucial for its success. It is often instructive to think of the framework as the elements that one would be assessing if they were investing in the venture. There are 5 main elements to consider in any startup. The first is the people. Basically, the men, women starting the business, founders, running the business, management, as well as anyone from outside helping the company, investors, board of directors, lawyers, etc. The second element is the opportunity. How big it is, how fast it grows, and what stands in its way. Market size, market share, competition. The third element is the external context. Basically things that cannot be controlled by entrepreneur, such as regulation and industry dynamics. The fourth element is the deal, the investors and the evaluation, and what they bring to the table from connections to baggage. The last element is about the risks. What are the risks and how can it be mitigated? People. The initial focus is on the founders. If you are investing in a company, you will need to know the founders' experience, reputation, and their fit to the opportunity they are pursuing. The founding team dynamics is often a crucial factor. Each of the founders can be a superstar, but if they can't function together, then startup won't succeed. Startups require a lot of hard work, and many times the original business idea changes. So investors are investing in people that can adapt as the circumstances warrant, are highly motivated, and are prepared to hire the best. Market opportunity. The second element is the market opportunity. An investor would want to know that the market is big and growing to be lucrative for them to invest. They would also want to know about your product and how compelling it is for your customer segment needs. It is equally crucial to understand the customers and how they make buying decisions. For example, a customer that takes years to make a buying decision, example high-end military equipment, is not as appealing as one that makes immediate ones, example consumer electronics. Finally, how much will it cost to acquire, retain, and support a customer? Let us take a business that requires door-to-door salespeople. In such a case, the more customers you acquire, the more salespeople you need, which would result in significant expenses. In contrast, if you have an internet-based business, then you can potentially scale the business without significant added expenses. Part of the market opportunity is the competition. Investors will need to know about your current competitors, their strengths and weaknesses, as well as your differentiation relative to each of them. A market that is crowded with competitors is obviously not as appealing as a market that has only few players. External context. The context deals with the outside circumstances that are not in the control of the business. Let us take, for example, the telecom deregulation in the 90s. This deregulation created a favorable circumstances and great opportunities for startup in the telecom sector. In contrast, the market crash in the 2001-2002 created unfavorable context for startups in the same sector. Looking at a business plan, the founders must be aware if the context help them or hinder them, and if the context is expected to change. Deals. Founders often need cash to start and grow their business. This money can come from a variety of sources, and founders have to decide about the amount of money they need, what are they going to spend it on, and what are they willing to give up to get this money. The goal should be to maximize the return, even if it is by giving a bigger share to the investors. So if you can attract a quality investor that helps you make a bigger pie, then you can get a larger portion by getting a smaller piece of a bigger pie. Risk. The final element is the risks associated with starting the company. Every startup has a lot of risk associated with it. Investors would like to know that the founders have thought through those risks. A good starting point to evaluate those risks is to look at first 4 elements of the framework and ask yourself as to what will happen if your assumptions change. Take, for example, the context. What would happen to the business if there is a change in the context? And what can I do to reduce and mitigate this risk?